Hey everybody, it's me Stacey, licensed designer for Sizzix Jacquard, Couture Creations, and brand ambassador for Royal Talens. Hello everybody! Welcome to today's In the Studio with Stacey, where we take fine art products like our oil pastels this month and we pair them with paper crafting products like stamps and stencils and dies and all sorts of paper crafting goodies. We mash them together and we make magic happen. And In the Studio with Stacey class is a month-long series of classes. So each month I pick one type of product from Royal Talens or maybe another fine art manufacturer, and we really focus on that product, how to use it, the what fors and the whys and the how comes and the how to's and the why nots. We spend an entire month working with it. So August has been oil pastels, Van Gogh oil pastels, and this is the last week of it because September's coming up and I have a whole new month of series of classes for you. We started back in January with Ecoline markers. We spent the entire month on Ecoline markers, and every month since then we've added more products. We've spent entire months learning about Van Gogh watercolors and about soft pastels from Rembrandt. So if you have an opportunity, there is a playlist on our YouTube channel that has In the Studio with Stacey classes, and you can go back and watch all of them. I always recommend you start with week 1 of a class because that's really the educational part. That's the explaining what the product is and why the product is and how it came to be and how long it's been made and how do they make it. And then every week after that is a different technique with the product. Like I said, today is our last week with oil pastels. Boy, have we had fun, right? Who knew oil pastels? Totally different than a soft pastel. We've done soft pastels by Rembrandt, which love water. They love baby wipes and they love to be blended and moved and they love to be painted with. Oil pastels do not like water at all. But what I found learning with you, what we are able to do with them is magical, truly is. And my last Saturday with Stacey YouTube class, I featured oil pastels on vellum. So if you have always had trouble with vellum, vellum's always been like, ooh, I don't know. I recommend watching that class because you will learn so much about oil pastels and how easy it is to work with vellum. Today, like I said, our last class. So I'm going to be stamping again, but we're going to be stamping a little bit differently. We're going to do a resist on a resist on a resist maybe, but of course we're going to start super easy and show we're going to take it in steps. So I'm going to start here and then I'm going to move here and then I'm going to do that and then hopefully it's like psh, mind blown. Where can you get all of these fabulous products? Well, yes, we have the Van Gogh oil pastels here at Scrapbooking Made Simple, scrapbookingmadesimple.com. But they're also available at lots of independent art stores all over the world. Absolutely, go introduce yourself and say, hey, I was learning about oil pastels. Can you show me what you have? An independent mom and pop art store would love to make a new friend, and that new friend is you. Now, if you don't have an independent art store, we get it. Then come shop with us. By all means, shop with us online or find another independent online art store to shop with. And you're like, Stacey, you're not an art store. No, we're a paper crafting store, mixed media, fine art. We do it all. There are no limits to what we can do with some paper. That's all I gotta say. There's no limits what we can do with some paper. It's finding the right technique and the right tools for that technique to make it look amazing. So today I'm back with stamps. And I've got my oils right here. I've got the 24 pack. We sell the 12 pack and the 24 pack. I'll show them both to you. I'm contemplating whether to bring in open stock. At some point we will bring in open stock. I just don't know where to put it in our retail store. Yes, we have a retail store. Come in and shop in our retail store too, but we're out of space. So I'm gonna tilt on down. We're gonna get started for today, and hopefully you've enjoyed this series of classes on oil pastels, and you've learned about them, and you've seen how they can enhance your creativity. Always taking something that is a higher quality of product, a better standard of product, which is what fine art product is always going to get you a better result than using something of lesser quality. And often the pricing is not that much different, but the results, big difference. So let me tilt on down, let me get started for today, and I'll show you the oils just in case you haven't seen them. Let's see, zoom, 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 down, 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 zoom, zoom, zoom. All right, so I use the 24 pack, and I use the 24 pack because I like all the pretties. It has all the pretty colors. The 12 pack also has lovely colors, but you'll notice there's not all the purples and the teals and the pinks, and they are the same colors. You will get the same colors between the two sets, but in the 24 pack you just get a little bit more selection. Now in total there's 60 colors, and like I said, at some point we will bring in the open stock so we have all 60 colors, but I felt that both of these were a nice place to start before you just dive on in. Now today I have got a couple of my stamps from Sizzix. So yes, I'm a licensed designer for Sizzix. These are some of my older stamps from last year that y'all may already have, and if not, I'll put them on sale for you. But I'm gonna use these because I figured most of you have something that might be similar, some kind of a background stamp, some kind of a floral stamp. Doesn't have to be done with my stamps, what we're gonna be doing, but I thought that these would be something close to maybe what you have in your crafty stash already. So I'm gonna take my stamp, and you can see my stamps are large. These are A5 in size. These are nice and big and give you lots of opportunity to play, absolutely. And we are going to be playing on Van Gogh mixed media paper. Now paper does make a difference when we're talking about playing with art products, absolutely. A better paper is going to give you a better result. A better oil pastel is going to give you a better result. An oil pastel truly is almost as close to pure pigment as you can get. The only thing that has more pigment than this would be a soft pastel. And a soft pastel is something that you can use with water. An oil pastel has mineral oil built into it, or an oil based into it. Sometimes it used to be coconut oil, and just there's lots of different things that have been. Paraffin has been put in here, which is a little bit of a wax content. We don't use paraffin anymore as far as I know. No paraffin in here. But it allows you to move them with a product called Gamsol or mineral spirits. And when you're working with these items, having the right paper is really important. So for me, the mixed media paper from Van Gogh is like a catch-all paper. I can use it with just about anything. I can use it with watercolors, I can use it with acrylics, I can use it with my oil pastels, I can use it with my soft pastels. It really gives me an opportunity to use lots of different products with it without having to have a million different kinds of paper. If I were using my Van Gogh watercolors, I may choose to use a watercolor paper, but I also can use my mixed media paper. So I'm going to be using this today, and I'm going to pull a couple sheets out. It does come in two sizes. This is an A5. And then it comes in a 9x12, a larger size. And it does have perforations so that you can like perforate off the little, so you can fold it and it has perforations. I'm just not overly patient to do that. I'm a girl who just takes my scissors and let's just go and cut it off. Now I'm going to start really easy today. Again, this is now our 4th class using our Van Gogh oil pastels. So I think see, my stamp fits the whole thing. All right, let's just do the whole thing. Today I am going to use my stencil and stamp tool by Sizzix. I'm going to be using it as a stamp positioner today, not a stenciling alignment tool. So I'm going to put my paper down. My sticky grid that is on here is going to hold my paper in place. And you get a sheet of sticky grid with your stencil and stamp tool. Eventually it will need to be replaced. I can tell you that I've got a lot of embossing powder on here, and the more I touch it, the less sticky it is, but it's holding my paper just fine right now. I'm going to put my stamp right on top. My lid, it fits right in. It just fits right in. You don't have to snap it or click it or anything. Now the lid does have 2 sides to it. It has a grid side and it has a side that's very smooth. The smooth side is what should be going against your stamp. Press and pull up. There we go. It is now in place. I'm going to be using some Wow embossing medium. So this is a clear embossing medium. When you get yours, your pad is going to look all pretty. Mine is loved and used, and I'm not changing it. It still works great. I'm not giving up on it. So I've got that all inked up. Put it in, close it up, and now I can give a good press. And I've got my little tool here that was made for me by my friend Polly. Hey, Polly! So I can give a good press. Now the benefit of a stamp positioner is that I can pull up and I can see, did I get everything? Did I stamp everything? Did I get a good image? And if not, I can put it back down and I can add more of my pressure. Or if I need to, maybe I didn't get enough ink, I can come back and add more ink, and as long as I don't move my paper and as long as I don't move my stamp, it is going to realign. Okay. Still feel like I'm missing right there. It's like right there. I'm just gonna put some there and see. I could be wrong. It could be there. It's clear, so it's kind of hard to see it. No, I think I was missing it. Maybe right there. Brand new stamp. So, all right, I'm going to go for it. We're just going to go for it. So I'm going to pull my paper off, and I can see a watermarked image on it. Put a little piece of paper down here because we might do this one again. So I'm just going to go there and put this off to the side. I can see a little watermarked image on it. And now when I put my embossing powder on top, it's going to cling to wherever that watermarked image is. Now the technique I'm doing today works best with white or black embossing powder. Those are the 2 colors that are going to work best with everything I'm doing today. So I'm going to let gravity take hold, and that embossing powder is starting to cling anywhere I had that embossing medium. All right, I'm gonna say, for me, that's gonna be good enough. I don't know if my camera can catch it because it's white on white, but let's heat set. So embossing powder doesn't just dry. You're not putting it down with glue. You're putting it down with a medium that stays wet long enough for the embossing powder to cling onto it. But if I don't heat it to turn my powder into a solid, it will wipe right off. It's very sad. So I'm gonna give a whirl and see about heat setting. So I'm using my Sizzix tool today. I also like the Wow embossing tool very much. And I'm just gonna add enough heat until I can see it change from a powder into a solid. So embossing powder is a plastic substrate. It's ground down fine plastic that is so fine that when you add heat, not from a blow dryer, but from a heat tool, it melts it into a solid. And as it's melting, it's going to brighten up. If I were doing black, it would give a crisp, sharp black image. So I'm gonna do about half of this one and then see if I can show you in the camera the difference. And I can see as it's turning into a solid, that's how I know when to move my heat tool. So I've got about half of it done and the other half not. Now I can't tell if you can see one side has, this is still a powder, and this is a solid. So this is shinier, it's brighter, it's got a gloss finish to it. This is dull and very difficult to see. But as I add my heat, it will start to turn. I've almost got it all done. And the nice thing is you can then look at it and get a reflection off of it, and any place that is dull means you haven't added enough heat, and you go back and you add some heat to it. Now I'm going to cut this and do it in twos because half of my stamp size is an A5, so half of it is an A6, which gives you a perfect A6 card, and it'll let you have 2 cards out of 1. How long does it take for embossing powder to dry? As long as it takes for the paper to cool. It's not a liquid, it's a plastic, and once the paper has cooled, the plastic has solidified. Now we're gonna play with our oil pastels, and I'm gonna grab a little bit of yellow, and I'm just gonna scribble. Kind of right on all of my little areas that are embossed. If I get it on my paper, that's absolutely fine. And then maybe a little green. And I think I'm going to do these 2 colors first. Now I can't go over it with water. Does not like water. If I were to scribble and take a baby wipe, nothing good's gonna come of it. If this was a soft pastel, completely different type of product, they're both named pastels, but They couldn't be any more different than, let's say, oil and water. Soft pastels would be moving and I could blend and mix. So how do I make that happen with an oil pastel? Well, oil pastels love Gamsol. They love mineral spirits. Why would they love mineral spirits? Maybe because they have mineral spirits built into them. I can take a cotton ball, put a little Gamsol on my cotton ball. Now, I want to make sure that I dab off some of my Gamsol. I don't want, let me grab that piece of paper. Let me get a plain piece of paper so you can see. I don't want too much Gamsol on my cotton ball, if I put some Gamsol on it, I don't want too much on my cotton ball. So I'm actually going to tap some of it off, and you can see that I've tapped some of it off. Then I'm going to come in and I can just move my color around. Maybe some more yellow. And I can just blend it in. Now I started really light because I can always intensify my colors. Maybe add a little darker yellow to it. I always start a little bit lighter and then grow into color. And a little bit of Gamsol. And I want to take some of it off. And then I start to blend. So I'm a less is more type of girl. I'd rather start light and build than start too dark and kind of be stuck. But anybody can do this. This is not hard. And all I'm doing is scribble, scribble, scribble. And blend, blend, blend with a cotton ball. Always want to tap off. And you can see what's happening. I mean, this is just so easy peasy. Now I add some blue in there. And look at how that, it just dissolves right into it. Bam. Done. I have this one. Let's do this one. So let's do maybe some pinks and some purples maybe. So I'll get a different cotton ball. And I'm going to come in here, I'm going to add some pink. Scribble, 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 scribble. And then maybe some purple. Cotton ball, gamsol, and go. And make an instant background. Maybe go a little deeper purple. Gamsol, tap off, and go. Gamsol, tap off, and go. And you keep adding until you're happy. You can come back once it's dry. It is dry. You can come back and add more color if you wanted. And where that embossing is, it's resisting the gamsol. It's resisting the oil pastels. And I can continue to add. Gamsol. Tap off. And then come in. And you make it what you want it to be. It's easy. It's accessible to all levels of crafters. All right, so we did 2. But now we need to move it up a notch, right? Take it up a step. That was easy peasy. Let me put some of my colors away so I know where to find them. Now let's take it up a little bit. Still using gamsol, still using my oil pastels. So this time I'm going to change my stamp out. And bring in change my stamp out. And bring in my Inspire stamp. So another big stamp. It's an A5 size. But the way I designed it, it lets you cut it up to an A2, 5x7, gosh, a slim line, a mini slim line, just about anything you want to do, you can do. Cut this piece off. But I think I'm going to start. Let's put my paper down. Fits my paper perfectly. And give a press. And I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to ink up with my Wow embossing. and then we'll stamp with it. Just to make sure I've got nice pressure. Oh, that looks great. This isn't a new stamp. You can tell this one's been used and loved, and definitely not a new stamp. But hopefully you can see the watermarked image on there. I don't need to come back and stamp again. I know that that one's going to be fine. But you know what? I'm going to do two. As long as I'm here, I'll just do this one as well. It's not a full sheet, but it'll be enough. Am I close? I am. Okay, I think that's good. Put it down. Let's get a nice impression. So anytime you start with a new stamp, which is what I did with my last stamp, it takes a few impressions for the stamp to get whatever residue is left on it from the liner that it was put onto. Not that the liner has any kind of solution on it. It just takes a little bit of a few stamps to make sure that you're going to get the best stamp possible. See, this one's great too. Done. Yay for me. So I can put those back, and I've got this one here. So this is the stamp set we're using now. And I'm going to take my, I'm going to cut it. What do you mean you're going to cut it? I'm going to cut it. There, I cut it. I'm going to let one sit over here with this one. And I'm going to put my white embossing powder on this one. Maybe I want to make an A2 card. Maybe I want it for my layouts and I want an embellishment made out of it. So I've got my embossing powder on. And I can see that it's covered up my whole stamped image. And I'll do that one when I get to it. And let's heat set. And as I see it changing from a dull white to a very bright white, I just move my heat tool all the way around. Now I don't do this. Every time you do this, you're adding heat and then taking heat away, and then adding heat and then taking heat away, and then adding heat. It's kind of like putting a pot of water on the stove. You've got it to a boil, and the minute you turn off the heat, the boil stops. Or you take it, you take it off the heat, the boil stops. So moving this around and around and around, you're adding heat, taking heat away. And every time you take that heat away, the plastic instantly starts to cool. So then you gotta reheat. Okay, I think that looks good. Maybe one little spot right there. All right. You know what? While I'm here, I'll do this one. We'll just get it done. Now I dump that embossing powder all over it because I know I'm going to put almost all of it right back into my jar. Embossing powder goes a really long way, and I'm using the Wow embossing powder. And let's heat this one. I think that looks good. And then I think I'll do this one while we've just got the tool out. I think I'm just going to do it. And this one maybe I do. Do I cut it? Do I not? Okay, so let's do this one full size. I think I've got it all covered. But let's heat set and see what we get. Put all my embossing powder back in. And that gives us 3 to play with. And as it turns, I'm just moving it as I see the color go from that dull to that super bright white. All right, so now I've got 3 to play with. Let's start with this one. So I can take now and just grab one of my little oil pastels, and I can come in here and just color. So scribble, scribble, scribble. I am super good at the scribble, scribble, scribble. Scribble, scribble, scribble. Then I take, instead of a cotton ball, I'm going to take a Q-tip. And same thing, I need to go ahead and kind of dab off a little bit, because then I can come in here and with a Q-tip, I can just color my, it's just that simple. I just pull that color right out. And I just go back from my Gamsol and then I tap off a little bit. And all I'm doing is staying within the lines. That's all I'm trying to do, is stay within the lines. It is coloring made easy. And just move that color around. Can I add more? Sure, if I want to make this darker, I can come in and add more pink. And that embossing powder is resisting. So my oil pastel isn't sticking to my embossing powder. It's resisting it, and it lets me wipe it right off. But sure, I can add color and darken it. And then just take my other side of my baby or my Q-tip and wipe it right off my embossed image, because that embossing is resisting the oil pastel. And I don't even have to be thoughtful about how I'm coloring. I'm just going in there and getting it done. So now you can see my flowers. Let's go ahead and let's do this one. And let's change it up a little bit. So I'm going to do yellow, and I did a very bright lemony yellow. And I just color everything in. Just adding that color. And then I've left a little bit of room for another color to work its way in. Maybe just a touch of red. Touch, touch, touch. Not a lot. And I just blend them in together using Gamsol, not water. And I can come back and add my yellow again. And with a Q-tip, I'm coloring. And I just go back and forth between the two until I'm happy. And I blend, blend, blend. Now a paintbrush probably won't work. You need to have enough push, enough pressure to move the oil pastel. And at this point, I'm just going for it. Doesn't matter what size of the Q-tip, what side of the Q-tip I'm using. I'm just absolutely going for it. Okay, that was a lot of red. Clean some of that red off with a clean Q-tip. Maybe add a little more yellow back in. Okay, I think I'm good. So I've got two. And you're saying, but Stacey, it's hard to see them. They're on white. Yes. Yes, they are. This is where everything changes. This is where instead of doing a full, I almost want a little bit more red. I know I said light, but I think I might have changed my mind a little bit. I'm putting it right onto the paper. My white resists it. Okay, I got a little darker. Okay, so you're saying hard to see. I don't see where you can see it. I don't see the flower. This is where a resist on a resist is amazing. So our embossing powder was our first resist. Our oil pastel is our second resist. It doesn't like water, remember? Does not like water. That means we can then take and we can mix oil and water together. We've got the oil down on our oil pastel, and now we're gonna mix the water. So I'm gonna grab my Gogh brush. If you don't have a Gogh brush yet, I'm telling you, it is the best thing since sliced bread when you're playing with fine art medium. I love my Gogh brush. It holds a tremendous amount of water. So I'm just gonna come right over the top. Now my oil is not gonna move. My oil pastel is not gonna move because it doesn't work with water. And my embossing powder is a plastic, so it's heat set down. Oh, I should have taped this to a, I should have taped this, well, I should have taped it. Too late to tape it now. There's no way I'm gonna get this taped down. I want it taped down and it's gonna laugh at me. I don't even have regular tape, but we can try. It's gonna say, haha, you're kidding, right? Nope. It's still a little bumpy, but that's okay. Add a little bit more water to it. And this is where I play with my Ecoline watercolors, my liquid watercolors, because everything is resisting. The oil pastel is resisting. And this is where I can come in and play. And the Ecoline is not going to impact. I can move them around. I need more water there, a little more from my Gogh brush. Just tap it in, add a little bit more water so this starts to move a little bit. And maybe I want it a little darker. And maybe I want it a little darker. And the water's going to resist where you've got the oil pastel and the embossing powder. And I can pick up color if I want to pick up color. I can block color if I want to block color. And I can just let it do its thing. Maybe a little more yellow over here. And a drop of blue. And all of a sudden you can see the outline of the flower. And I'm not harming my flowers because the oil acts as a resist, the oil pastels, and the embossing powder acts as a resist. All right, let's let that one sit. This time I am going to tape it down ahead of time. Where did you go? Gosh, that drives me crazy when that happens. Here's one that's open. Ha ha ha. Okay, so Gogh brush, a little bit of water. Oh, nice. And now pull your color. And you just kind of let it run to where it wants to run to. Oh, look at that. If I want to pick some of it up, Go in there and blot it up. Wow, that was intense. Maybe a little bit of my blue. And everywhere. Oh, yeah, I like that. Maybe a little bit more water and a little bit more blue. And you just drop until your heart's content. But the nice thing is, your coloring is not being affected by it. It's being resisted in the best possible way. It is a little bit of magic, absolutely. The colors are magical. We still have that whole one that's done. So what if I just go super fast? I'm just coloring it in with my Q-tip. Okay, baby white or a cotton ball and get the red off my white. Oh, I didn't dab. Dab, dab, dab. So I'm stealing from here to color in one of my other flowers. Some of the fastest coloring ever. Now you can do this with a soft pastel. You would be using water instead. but you wouldn't be able to add the liquid watercolor to it to form the background. The only way to add the liquid watercolor is to have a double resist. And I'm not even being careful. I'm just going for it. All right, so I've got some color down. Maybe I go with a light, slightly darker blue. A little bit of water from my Gogh brush. Oh, Stacey. Tape it down. Let's tape down there. And let's tape down the top. I could tape down the sides if I want to, because eventually it'll bow, but a little bit of water from my Gogh brush. And go with a light, slightly different blue. How do we feel about that? Now if I need to, and I want to, I can come in and grab some of the color out. Grab some of the color out. How about a clean one? There we go. Dab some of the color in. I think I'm going to leave it. It's still wet, so it's still moving, but hello, beautiful. Oh my goodness, that's gorgeous. So we started just doing it with the embossing powder and just laying our oil pastels down, taking some Gamsol and a cotton ball and rubbing over it to blend everything together. And then we went into stamping and adding a background. Look at how pretty is this. Letting your eco line and your oil pastels work together. Another way to use your oil pastels, another way to use your eco line liquid watercolors. These are not your typical liquid watercolor. They really aren't. And these are not your typical oil pastels. They really aren't. They are something absolutely special. And they're made all by Royal Talens, a fine art company who started as Talens. They were given the royal designation by the Queen, and you don't have to look very hard to find out why. All right, so last week, oil pastels. Did you have a good month? Did you have fun? Did you learn? Did you enjoy? Did you play? These classes stay on our YouTube channel forever, so you can come back and revisit this entire series of classes, or the January series of classes, or February, or March, or April, or May, or June, or July, to reimagine what you have in your stash, to get the beautiful tools, and then go back and look at your vellums, look at your papers, see what you have, and play. I mean, I think that makes me look like an artist. All right, you guys, next week, brand new series of classes. We are going to be playing with Fine Tech, the most blingy watercolor you'll ever see. So next week we start with Fine Tech watercolors. Until then, it's me, Stacey, and I am an art ambassador for Royal Talens. You can find all of this product at scrapbookingmadesimple.com or in our retail store. You can also find it at art stores globally. So until then, thanks for hanging with me. Thanks for being part of the live chat if you were here for the premiere. And the next time I see you will be Thursday for our next New For You event, where I have a new manufacturer coming in. You've heard of them. We used to carry them. They're back. Who is it? You'll have to tune in Thursday, 6 p.m. sunny California time, 8 p.m. Central, 9 p.m. Eastern. Until then, everybody, bye.